Hi, I'm Josh Chora, Pizza Chef. I'm representing store 198 in Geneva, Illinois. And I love CPK because I love it when people try my food and are satisfied with what I make for them. And I invite you to watch my video. Before I can get to my line to making the actual pizzas, my day starts here, in the back of the house. This is where I spend every morning, and I always want to make sure that when I get a new box of dough, I want to check for any proof of thaw or mistreatment of the dough. So when I get in my box, I want to make sure that it's all still frozen, nicely packed, and that there's no damage whatsoever. So when I see my dough, I see that it's nice and frozen. At this point, I want to make sure I take it back to the freezer and put it away for storage. And also I want to make sure that I have enough dough for the next 3 days so that we're getting our pars nice and pulled and we're not running out of any dough. Every morning I want to come in and check my temperature on my dough, make sure that I have enough for my pars for my day, and I have at least 2 stacks, one for the AM and one for the PM. And at nighttime I want to make sure that I take out, on the bottom I want to have 1 empty tray, 3 8-ounce, and then I'll decide if I need to put 4 of the 5-ounce doughs, and on top another 3 of the 8-ounce doughs, and then an empty one on top so that it's not getting dry on the dough. And I also want to make sure that when I check and cut my dough, I want to make sure that it's at least at 45 to 50 degrees. When it's at 45 to 50 degrees, I decide whether I need the dough for the shift or if I want to store it back in the cooler to thaw out. And our dough thaws in about 3 hours to get it to 65 to 70 degrees, and that's our perfect proof dough. So when I pull my dough at night, I want to make sure that I put 12 8-ounce dough balls into each tray, giving them enough space for them to proof and relax inside the trays. Also, I want to do that with my 5-ounce. And when I go to check my temperature, I want to make sure that it's at 65 to 70 degrees so that I have it ready for the actual shift. So when I take my temperature right now, it's 66. And now we're ready to take it to the line. So when we get to the line, first thing I want to make sure I do is grab my sanding bucket and clean up my makeup table. Keep it nice and sanitized. And I'm a firm believer that if you work in a mess, you're gonna make a mess. Dry it off. Next, I'm gonna wash my hands. Very important that you always wash your hands before handling any food. That stops any cross-contamination or bacteria from getting inside your actual food. So my oven has 5 zones. The start and finish, the start zone, the sweet spot, and the 2 finish zones. When I'm cooking my pizzas, I want to make sure that my flame is 10 to 12 inches high. And for my holding point, I want to make sure that it's at 8 inches. I want to make sure that my hearth temperature on my oven is always at 500, and the temperature of my oven is always in between 525 and 550 degrees. So now we're gonna make our epic mozza pizza. And to start with our mozza pizza, we have to get our dough, which I already proofed, which is at 68 to 70 degrees. All right, we're gonna toss the dough into our rice flour, cover it on both sides, put it on our makeup table. Now, to make my mozza pizza, I'm gonna need 7 ingredients. I'm gonna need 1 ounce of our pizza sauce, 3/4 of a cup of our mozzarella cheese, 6 basils, and we're gonna need 2.5 ounces of our fennel sausage, 4 of our rustic pepperoni, and 1.5 ounces of our cremini mushrooms. And to garnish, we're gonna use 1/2 tablespoon of our Greek dried oregano. To start our pizza, we're gonna put it on our makeup table and we're gonna make a 1-inch indentation, and that's gonna form our rim. Making sure that I don't mistreat the rim, keep it nice and whole. Next, I'm gonna tap all the air out of the center, and that's gonna make my donut, all right? At this point, I wanna pick up my dough, and I'm gonna stretch to 13 inches, flip it, stretch to another 13 inches, and next I wanna make sure I throw it in the air no more than twice. Nice and even, and I'm gonna lay it down on my makeup table, and that is my perfect 8-ounce dough. My 1 ounce of pizza sauce, and using my spoon, I'm gonna put it all the way to the edge of the rim so that every bite has a little bit of that sauce. You really wanna prevent from getting any sauce on your rim, and that's gonna prevent any burn spots, as well as the cheese. You don't wanna get any cheese on your crust, so that's gonna give it eyelashes. It doesn't give it really a presentable look. We're gonna add our 3/4 cup of mozzarella cheese that's shredded in store. And we're gonna distribute that I like to go all the way around and then finish off in the middle so I know I got even distribution on the whole pizza. So after we put our 3/4 cup of mozzarella cheese, we're gonna add 6 pieces of basil leaves cut in half. Next, we're gonna add our 2.5 ounces of sausage. This is gonna give it a nice heat. We're gonna add 4 pieces of our rustic pepperoni. Put these all around the pizza. You wanna make sure that you evenly distribute all your ingredients so you can get a bite of everything that's going on. Next, we're gonna add 1.5 ounces of our cremini mushrooms. This is gonna bring the whole pizza together. I think we're ready to go in the oven. We're gonna put it on our pizza peel. And this is the most important part. I wanna make sure I take 4 seconds to make sure that this is the last thing I wanna see before it goes in the oven. Fix any imperfections that it might have and make sure that it's up to size, that my ingredients are nice and evenly distributed. I'm ready to go in the oven. You see that color? When we verify it's nice, crispy on the bottom, we're gonna cut this into 6 slices. You hear that crunch? All right, and then we're gonna put it on our plate. And then our garnish is gonna be 1/2 tablespoon of our dry Greek oregano. When we come here to verify, we wanna put the color, compare it. You can see that it's right in the middle to where it's perfect. There's no eyelashes, no sign of burn marks. The bottom color is nice. The distribution of our ingredients is nice and even. And that is our mozza pizza. We're gonna start with our thin crust dough that is par baked. We're gonna use our 8-ounce dough that I already temped. Make sure that we're in between 65 to 70 degrees. 67.7. That's perfect temperature for our dough. Next, we're gonna put our dough into the rice flour. Make sure that you cover both sides. We're gonna add our rice flour to our makeup table, prevent it from sticking. And we're gonna just tap the air out. We're gonna make it 1/2 inch thick, and we're gonna make it 7 inches in diameter, right? Then we're gonna add some more flour on the top, prevent it from sticking, and it glides easy on your rolling pin. So using medium pressure, we're just gonna go up and down until we get to 13 inches. I'm gonna rotate and continue the same motion using medium pressure. I don't wanna overwork the dough, and I don't wanna underwork it. Nice and steady. And we're gonna repeat this process until we get to 13 inches. And then we're gonna par bake it in our oven for 30 seconds. So 15 seconds on each side. We're gonna take our pizza peel, and our pizza peel is actually 13 inches, so when I measure it, it's gonna come out perfect. We'll set it in our sweet spot. We have our timer for 15 seconds on each side. And we wanna make sure that our temperature on our oven is always in between 525 and 550 degrees. Anything less or anything higher, you're gonna get poor quality, and that's not what we're looking for. So after the 15 seconds, we're gonna flip. We're gonna cook for another 15 seconds. Now again, using medium pressure, we're gonna take the air out, rotating it. And that's my beautiful 13-inch par-baked thin crust. And we're gonna store this into our sheet pans to let it cool down to room temperature so they can have it ready for use for service. Next, we're gonna make our Sicilian pizza on our thin crust dough. To make our Sicilian pizza, we're gonna use 1 ounce of our spicy marinara. We're gonna use 1/3 of a cup of our quesadilla cheese, 1/2 a cup of our mozzarella cheese, 2.5 ounces of our fennel sausage, 6 capicola hams, which we're gonna cut in half, 4 salamis, also cut in half. We're gonna use 0.4 of an ounce of our shaved Parmesan cheese, and 1 tablespoon of our Mediterranean herbs. So we're gonna start off with our sauce. We're gonna add 1 ounce of our spicy marinara sauce, and we're gonna bring this coast to coast. It's very important that we cover the whole thin crust, because when it actually goes into the oven, we don't want it to burn, and we don't want that flavor to get lost. We don't want one bite having sauce and then the other one not having anything. Next, we're gonna add our quesadilla cheese, 1/3 of a cup. And I like to bring it from around and then finish off in the middle. 1/2 a cup of our mozzarella cheese. Again, we're gonna go around and in the middle. Our sausage, we're gonna add our sausage now, 2.5 ounces again. Put these around, get creative. Next, our capicola ham. We're gonna cut these in half. We're just gonna start putting these all over the place. Make sure that every bite has every flavor so that every time you bite into it, you can enjoy everything. You can taste what's going on. We're gonna add our salami, 4 pieces, cut in half. We're gonna add now our shaved Parmesan. We're gonna add our tablespoon our many herbs. And this is gonna give it color, it's gonna give it life, freshness. And that is our Sicilian pizza. Again, on our peel, 4 seconds. You wanna make sure that this is exactly how you want your pizza to look when it comes out of the oven. And this is beautiful. So we're gonna put this in the oven, and we're gonna get it cooking. And I think my Sicilian pizza is ready. Again, it's not wobbly, it's not loose. We're gonna use our dough. We're gonna look for that crunch. When we lift our pizza, you can see that it's not flat, it's not wobbly. We're gonna garnish with 22 to 24 pieces of basil. We're gonna put it on our thin crust plate. This is my Sicilian pizza. Next, we're gonna make our flatbreads that actually use our 5-ounce doughs. We're gonna take our 5-ounce dough, and again, we wanna make sure that we temp our dough, make sure that it's between 65 and 70 degrees. And we're gonna cut it into 2 equal parts, like so. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna tuck in the ends. Keep it nice and round. And we're gonna put rice flour on the bottom of our table. And we wanna make it from 7 to 8 inches. And we're gonna press it down to 1/4 of an inch of thickness and 2.5 to 3 inches in width. We're gonna add rice flour to the top again to prevent it from sticking. And using medium pressure, we're gonna roll it out till we get to our 12 inches. Next, we're gonna put it again, we're gonna put it into our sweet spot for 30 seconds, 15 seconds on each side. And add another 15 seconds. Again, we want to make sure that our temperature for our oven is always in between 525 and 550. So then once we take out our flatbread, again, we want to just medium pressure and roll it out. This is our hard-baked flatbread. Now, we're gonna make our flatbread spinach and mushroom on our flatbread that we pressed out to 12 inches by 3.5 to 4. Right? We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of our garlic infused extra virgin olive oil. We're gonna take a brush. We're gonna take that oil and put it all over the flatbread. When it goes in the oven, it's gonna get it nice and crisp, and it's gonna give it that little taste, that hint of garlic. We're gonna take 1/4 of a cup of our shredded mozzarella cheese, distribute that all over. Same as the thin crust, we wanna make sure that we have everything covered so it doesn't burn in the oven. It comes out nice and crispy, and every taste has all the ingredients. We're gonna add 1/2 ounce of our shaved Romano cheese. Make sure it's nice and covered. Next, we're gonna add 1/2 ounce of our sauteed spinach. That looks amazing. 3/4 of an ounce of our cremini mushrooms, and 1/2 tablespoon of our grated Parmesan cheese. And to top it off, we're gonna add 1/8 of a teaspoon of our cracked pepper. 4 seconds, check to make sure ingredients are evenly distributed. Nice and ready to go in the oven. This is my flatbread, spinach and mushroom. Bottom, it's nice and crispy. Veggies always cut with the green. Nice and crispy, you can hear it in that crunch. I'm gonna add it to our plate. And to garnish, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of our grated Parmesan cheese. These are our 3 pizzas. Thank you for watching my video, guys, and I hope to see you in California.